So, Rich, you've been playing State of Decay.
I have been.
So, what? I saw it the other day on Xbox Live. What's it all about? What's the deal with State of Decay?
So,
Ah,
oh yes, State of Decay. It's basically, for me, it feels like what Alan Wake should have been, except without darkness monsters. They're zombies, but they have glowy eyes, just like they did in what do you call that game again?
um,
Alan Wake. So it's like an open world-ish zombie game, and you're like going and you're going to houses that have been abandoned, and you're going through and getting supplies, and then you have like a home base, and you can keep your home base up. You can like upgrade it, get bed areas or medical areas, and level those up, and add things to them. And then you go out and you find survivors, and you bring them back to your home base. You fight zombie infections, fight zombie hordes. You can play different characters. So sometimes if your character is out in the field too long, they get tired, so you bring them back home. And then you can switch to a different character that has different specs, different skills, different weapons. Um,
so it kind of sounds like a cross.
Tons of side missions. Also, all the survivors you find that are living in your safety home, they have side missions as well. And you level up their friendship with you. And when they fully trust you as a friend, then you unlock them as a playable character. It's really
Oh,
fun.
interesting. So it kind of sounds like it's got some Jet Grind Radio aspects with the character selection, but then it's also got like some DayZ stuff mixed with a little bit of Dead Rising. It sounds like they're borrowing from a lot of really popular current zombie games.
It's really good. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It's just there's some things that it didn't describe very well, so I'm not really quite sure what it means. Like I have this influence meter, and it keeps going down. Like every few seconds, it goes down, but then I build it back up, and I'm not quite sure how I'm building it up and why it's going down. Um, there's also a number. It's like 2 out of 9. Whoa, what does that mean? 2 out of 9 of what? So I don't know what that means. They didn't explain everything on the HUD, which is a little confusing. But um, it has permadeath.
Ooh.
Really? Oh man, I haven't died yet, so I didn't know that.
Uh-uh.
But that's not good.
Yeah, permanent. Well, that's like the big thing now with a lot of these zombie survival games. Is like once you're dead, you're dead. I mean, that was like a major. It's not so bad with DayZ, but with when I reviewed the Warzy, which was like one of the worst games I've ever played, like the permadeath became a major issue because of all the hackers and cheaters just killing you off. And when you spend money in the store on a bunch of supplies, so you kind of have a leg up, and somebody shoots you in the head as soon as you spawn, you get pissed off.
Yeah.
This
People are saying that it should be co-op. I have heard that it will be co-op at a later date.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I've heard. I don't know for sure.
So does
But
it feel complete though?
it is a little buggy. There are some. It's like my character or the characters at home base. They always move. So you're like running around home base trying to find this one person. You're just like, oh my god, where is this person? Why are they keep moving from me? And they might have a side mission. One of the survivors might have a side mission, but there's nothing that pops up over their head to tell you they have a side mission. So every time you go home, you have to run all over the place, find everybody, talk to them, see if they have a side mission, and that gets a little frustrating too.
No.
So also the side missions expire, but it doesn't tell you how much time you have left before they expire. That would have been cool. Um, yeah, just those few things.
Well, what would you like? How far into it are you?
I mean, it is only an Xbox Live Arcade game, so it's not like a $60 game.
Yeah.
I think it's like 15 or something.
Yeah. What would you give it right now, based upon like what you've played, and how long have you played it for?
For me, it's hard to tell because I have been spending most of my time going around scavenging all of the buildings
Mm-hmm.
in the town I'm in. So I'm not too far in the story. Plus, I've read that the story progresses very quickly and it gets very hard. So I've read many people say you should go through and just scavenge everything before you start a lot of the story. So I have moved out of chapter 1 or the first area I was in, and I'm in the second area now. And it's a pretty big town, and I'm just going through and scavenging everything. But the other thing that sucks about that is you have a limited amount of inventory. So I go to one building, I empty it, go back home, delete everything in my inventory, back into the storage, go back to one building. So I can only do one building at a time. It's a lot of back and forth taking my items from where I got it back home. or you can call somebody in to come take all the items, but you can only do that so often.
Yeah, so it's a lot of tediousness. It sounds like, and
But they keep it from being too repetitive because there's hordes that are walking around. Sometimes just by emptying out a building, you will find survivors, or you will find a side mission to do. So there's little hidden things too that you can find just by going around looting everything.
now can any of the survivors you rescue, can they be infected or anything like that? Can they die or?
Um, right now in the story, my friend is dying from a bite. So I don't know. He hasn't died yet, but they're like, we don't know if he's gonna make it. So I'm not quite sure. But all the survivors I've found have been healthy or have been hurt, and then we're nursing them back to health, and then I'm doing side missions for them so I can make them playable.
Cool. Well, it sounds like an interesting game. I am really over the zombie thing right now, though. Especially after Dead Island Riptide. That kind of like, I was like, well, I've played a lot of crappy zombie games this year. I'm not that Dead Island was super crappy, but it definitely had a lot of marks against it in my mind. I think.
I started playing that by myself, and then I was like, this is no fun by
Yeah.
myself. So waiting for my friends to get it so that I can play with them. Because I think it'd be better playing with a group.
Yeah, I mean, I played through with like one other person for most of the game. That actually like when it worked out. I think the problem was like having random people pop in and out and not really communicating was kind of rough. But once I actually found somebody to play with that was cool and like was smart about playing, it was more enjoyable. But I still think there's too many flaws with it to make it like be like a game that I flip out about. Like
Yeah, no, it's definitely not a serious game.
yeah,
Definitely not.
yeah, I gave it my personal score was a 6.5. My editor changed that to a 7 for the printed review. But like yeah, it felt like a 6.5 out of 10 to me. If you gotta know. But yeah, I've been over the zombie thing since Left 4 Dead 2.
Well, Last of Us is going to change your mind about that,
It
sir.
better.